We are live and well on a Thursday night. That's August 4th, 2022. I'm Patty Serrano, your host. And we got all these people tonight that are going to talk about why they why they bought the rig that they have. And this is our first in a series of classrooms, newbie classrooms. Even though we're all out there with rigs, there are a lot of people right now. Would you guys all agree that there's a lot of people shopping right now?
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, people really want to do this. But I've noticed that some of them just kind of randomly buy stuff. I saw one post the other day. A lady bought a trailer and she didn't know what she was getting herself into. The salesman probably said, it's cakewalk. And then she said she had to ask somebody to back it into the her campsite. Did you guys happen to read that one?
No.
No. So these are the kind of things we're going to talk about tonight. Like, why should I buy that rig? So I guess should we start from the bottom or should we start from the top? Should we start with Class A's and work our way down, or stop tent camping and work our way up? What do you think? What sounds better?
I say start at the bottom because I may not last until the end.
Oh, okay. Are you a bottom dweller?
Kind of like that.
Okay,
This crazy internet I have.
Yeah, I can. We're gonna have fun tonight. So, I'm in Denver. Cheryl's out in Washington, right? What's your city, Cheryl?
Grand Coulee. It's in
And
Central Washington.
Deb's out in the desert in what city?
I'm in Indio right now.
India. Okay, hot India. And Paula's out in. Where are you, Paula?
Covington, Louisiana.
That's right, Covington. I knew it was near New Orleans. But we've got some extreme temperatures going on. I'm in 101 Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you, Deb? Did you say you were?
About 105 today.
105. Cheryl, where are you?
We're kind of having a cool down. It's around 90.
No,
108 last week this time, so
yeah,
90 feels really good.
And how about you, Paula?
I am very proud to say I am the low temperature this week. We have had rain off and on all day, and we have been in the the high 80s.
Nice.
Okay. Well, what a difference a week makes. Because last week I was freezing at the public library in Colorado Springs, Colorado. This week I'm in Denver, 101 in my car. All right. Well, that's a good point that we're going to bring into rigs too. So I guess we won't talk about tent camping because that's not really a rig, but it is camping. And this isn't a camping program tonight. It's a rig thing. So we'll start with the smallest of rigs, which would be something that I have and Paula has, which is a minivan. And, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's a lot of minivan groups out there that you can actually learn stuff from. Deb, what would your van be called?
I'm with Class B.
You're Class B. Okay. Well, we'll get into that then. And then Cheryl's actually a passenger van. So that would be kind of up above a minivan, I would say, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's much bigger than a minivan, but it's...
Okay, so we're going to go into those. As far as the van group that's here right now, we'll talk about why a certain van. Now, I'm going to go with you first, Paula, and ask why you decided on a minivan.
I chose a minivan because I actually I was one of those that bought a Class A without really realizing what I was getting into.
Oh.
And I realized I'm an adventurer, and a Class A is not going to get it for me. I want to go on the back roads and find the undisturbed areas and be able to do some hiking and get back to the waterfalls. And so I decided to go with a minivan and convert that to where, I could get into those places I enjoy.
Perfect. Well, that's a great answer. And that I will just kind of interject with you also, with the other person with the minivan here in the group tonight, is I had, and you'll hear as we go along tonight, my experience with travel trailers, cargo vans, large cargo vans, Class C, 2 of them, and then the big bad Mama Jamma Class A. So I've got a little bit of reasoning why I'm down smaller now because I've kind of worked my way down. Now you're a buyer that is out there thinking, well, which way should I go? And so what I would like to ask you is, what exactly do you want to do? First thing, what do you want to do? Because did you hear Paula say, I want to go out and be adventurous? She can't do that in a Class A. So if you're adventurous and you want a Class A because you want to walk around bed, then you might have to change some of your priorities. Did you have something to say, Paula, on that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
I agree,
Okay.
though. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. You
So
can't
the
get
first-
those big old Class A's back in on these dirt roads and, exploring. It's just not practical.
So your first question you write down on your class tonight is, what do I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
What do I want to do? How do I see myself going down the road? How do I see myself once I get there? So all that kind of encapsulates into, what do I want to do? And then we will work into like what the benefits are of each one of these type of rigs. And so let's ask the question, the first question. Let's say Cheryl's in the market now. What do you want to do, Cheryl? Why did you pick the passenger van? I know one of the reasons, but
I think in addition to that statement there, that question is, what do I want to do? But stay flexible, because what you think you want to do might not be what you actually want to do.
Yeah.
I started out knowing that I wanted to get out and be able to go to my kids and go to my parents and go visit without, being in their space, having my own space.
Right.
So I started out in my car, just sleeping in my car, which worked great. And I watched all these videos, and I had these grandiose plans that I was going to stealth camp in urban settings. And so that's what I wanted to do. But luckily, by using what I had, I realized that's really not where I wanted to be. I really wanted to be out more. So then I actually started looking for a minivan, thinking that, the minivan would
get you out there. Yeah.
Do both, and couldn't find one at a reasonable price. And then I found my passenger van. It was a 12-passenger Chevy Express. Found it on Craigslist for a very reasonable price. It's well below market value. I don't know. Most people did not do their research, but it was filthy. Oh, it was so dirty.
Yeah.
Came off a farm, people with lots of kids. And anyway,
yeah.
A little bit of elbow grease and tearing out the back seats. I had a big empty box that it's working great.
Yeah.
But I think that now that I have this van, even after I got the van, I thought, well, I don't want to do anything to it that's going to look like a camper, because I want to be able to urban stealth in it.
Right.
And I still want to keep it a lot like that, but I really don't think I'm going to be doing a lot of urban stealth.
So that was great that you suggested that you might think you want to go out and something, but then things will change and then you'll end up in something else. And that, in my experience in selling cars and motorhomes, that is so true. People will come in thinking they want such and such, and then after the experienced person has asked them all the questions, they end up driving out with something else. So that's great that you add that flexibility in there. And you're in your search.
Start with, if you've got a car that there's any way you can lay down flat in it, camp in that a couple times, even if it's in your own driveway. Can you get by with this? If you can, you're saving buckets of money.
Exactly.
I ended up selling a 8-year-old car and getting a 12-year-old van because that was the way I
did the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
If you can get by with what you have, do it.
Yeah, we've said that in almost every single program we've done. All right, perfect. So now we'll, instead of going up to the next thing, would be travel trailers, let's go skip and go to Class B, because we've got Deb here that's got a Class B. Now, let me ask you, Deb, when you went out looking, or when you were in the market and research and everything, were you in the market for a Class B, or did you end up in one?
I started test driving Class C's because I thought, they're so nice having all that room and everything.
And storage.
Then I didn't like the way that they drove. I started out with kind of the Pleasure Way idea, and they were just too buoyant. Like I felt like I was driving a big marshmallow or something.
Yeah.
It almost made me queasy. The
Mhm.
Class Bs felt like regular vans. They just felt like, connected to the ground. So I didn't necessarily know that I wanted to urban camp or park in a driveway. That kind of came with, luckily, the size of my van. I thought I wanted to get out there and I was following Robin on Creativity RV, and I thought I wanted to go out in the boonies like her. But now I realize I'm a big old chicken and I don't want to do that. I like it closer to town.
Sometimes
So
I
it
like
fit.
cement better than dirt. I hear you.
Oh yeah, it was like my dogs were getting red ant bites and
Oh
ticks
no,
and everything.
no,
I'm like,
no,
oh no.
no,
So
no, no.
it worked out better actually because this is a little bit more stealth than if I would have done a
Mhm.
B plus or a C.
Perfect. Let me ask you one thing. Uh, so you went out for a Class C because that's what you thought you wanted to do, and then you ended up in what type of one do you? What kind of B do you have?
So I have the Ram ProMaster with the Corrado on it, which they don't make that Banff Corrado anymore. That was when they made in Canada before.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you now: is the Ram ProMaster the one that it looks like a van, though? It's but it's a Ram,
It
or
it does. I
or does it
mean,
have the? See, I always thought Class Bs were they've got the body, and then they ship in the body with the chassis, and they build over it. But the van is actual. There's the engine, and the whole metal is all one piece.
it's all one, yeah, and
Okay,
it
so
kind
that's
of it has the like kind of trucker lights that come
right.
up. I mean, it
Okay.
doesn't look like a
So it
regular
hasn't had a
van.
separate unit built on it then, which would be a Class
Yeah.
C. Okay, that's fine. So that just now remember we're going to send this out and push this out to beginners. So some of the things I've noticed we're saying for beginners is stealth. You'll hear a lot from us because that's where you just go out and go unnoticed. Streets, driveways, family houses, hospitals, you know, look at any one of our weeklies, we talk about stealth. And then the other thing is boondocking, which would be where you don't have anything. You don't have any services, any boondocking, just flat out park. Not as like stealth, but you're out maybe in Quartzsite. You've heard of people going out there and stuff like that. So for the new people, that's boondocking and stealth are two different ways you can go. And that might be like Deb said, she thought that's what she was watching this gal on YouTube. That's what she wanted to do. But she got flexible and changed, and that's not what she ended up doing. So now the second question is, um, and we're going to get to budget because I know that's important, but that isn't, believe it or not, the most important thing when you're looking. Believe it or not, people will bump to get what they want a few dollars over their budget. But what do you want to drive? How can you drive? How good are you at driving? How good are you at backing up? How's your vision? How's your neck? And you turn to, I mean, there's a lot of physical things that you have to think about when you pick what you want to drive. So, was there any of you guys picked what you wanted because of the drive? Sounds like you did, Deb.
Right.
Yeah. Did you have any problem with driving, Cheryl, with the passenger
No,
van? Nope.
no. I used to drive trucks, so I
That's
could
right.
drive anything.
And Paula, do you have any problem in the minivan as opposed to a car? Okay, so she's kind of bouncing around and buffering a little bit. I will tell you that the minivan, since we're kind of bumped into like a Class B or a van, like a ProMaster, they drive a little. The wheelbase is what the issue is. The back wheel to the front wheel, and in a minivan, it's not like a car. Those wheels are closer. So in a minivan being out, you go to turn, and guess what? That little, I always say, swing out, sister, because that back has to follow the front. So think about that when you're buying or looking at rigs. Do I want a truck? Can I drive a truck? Men that are watching this can say, heck yeah. Women are buying trucks these days. I see it on all the groups all the time. Hey, look at the rig I just bought. I go, dang, that girl's brave. She's got a lot of road out there, She's taking up a lot of road. All right, so we in this group tonight are smaller. Okay, we've picked smaller because of the easeability, um, affordability. I could drive my minivan as a car. All my granddaughters fit in. I pop the seats up. Now I have a car. Pop them down, put a bed in. I just bought some racks for the back. I'm going to show you a video. I make a video of what I did in the back, and people love to look at interiors. So I kind of been working on that. So we've all picked the small route. So let's jump up into a rig like we talked about with the two different pulls. One is a travel trailer, which is called, a pull. You have to pull it, and then there's a fifth wheel. And I just happened to see a woman on one of the threads just bought a Big Bad Mama Jamma fifth wheel. If you're looking for a fifth wheel, I would definitely don't just go in and get sold, because that floor plan is so gorgeous. I mean, they have islands and beautiful showers and washers and dryers. You're going, oh, this isn't camping. Think about the drive on that one. Talk to your specialist on the drive, the hookup.
Yeah. Get some instruction on how to drive them. I used to own an RV park, and we had a guy came in, pulled in, and took the first corner in the park too closely, caught the back end of the fifth wheel, literally ripped the entire back off of the fifth wheel. Then he was so upset. He said, I just bought this. My wife doesn't know I bought it. She's going to kill me. She's going to meet me up here, thinks we're going to have our old trailer. And he was just wigging out, because he just never dawned on him the tracking, how they track. They don't follow the front wheels around. They got to get around that corner. And if the front end gets around the corner before the back end does, the back end cuts the corner.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the travel trailer still's got some, you've got to get the right. I see this all the time on the questions, like, what trailer should I buy? Well, that one, folks, I would definitely do some research on. Get the pull weight of the car. You've got, you could put special braking in on that if you want, sway bars in on that, all kinds of stuff. That one, I would say the fifth wheel and the travel trailer would need some research.
Yeah.
Research that,
Yeah. And don't just ask the salesman that's selling you the trailer if your rig can handle it. Go to the car manufacturer and ask them, because that trailer salesperson is trying to sell you a trailer.
Yeah. Yep.
They're gonna, yeah, sure, no problem. You can.
That's right.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Another thing to think about on travel trailers is, especially if you're a woman traveling alone, there's the safety factor. If you're sleeping in a travel trailer and something happens and you're uncomfortable, there's some creepy person hanging around or whatever, you've got to get outside of your trailer and get in your rig to leave.
Mm-hmm.
You can't it's just not safe.
I think travel trailers and fifth wheels are boondocking, not so much stealth. I don't see that buyer as a stealth person.
No.
Boondocking, or like you said, you park it. Even if you're boondocking, park it where you can get out. That's a great one, Cheryl. All right, so these are some good comments on all this. And if there's anything that you want to go back to as we're talking, oh yeah, this would be good for the trailer, let me know. We'll move up to now. I just happen to have a large cargo van, the Nissan 1500 when it came out, first year 2011, and so when I was out there with that, I just fixed it up myself with a bed and a desk, because I was working on the road, and it just worked. It just one of those things where I went into the dealership, I saw it, I went, and they were giving away a free, what do you call it, a wrap. So now here we go. My business is going on the road because I can. And it's like, it was so cool. But it had its own, little things about it. Like, I went out, before GPS, and I pretty much lived off the grid and everything. So, it was different. So when I went in and ended up buying another one that I wanted to be a little bit more economical, I bought the same Nissan cargo van in a smaller version. And you see those now. for the people that are thinking about, I see these women all the time going, oh, I'm going to go buy a little Ford Transit or something like that. You know, the Nissan, the small Nissan 200 and the Ford Transit, all those little ones um, could serve you. But remember, you have to ask, what am I going to do? What do I want to do? Because when I went from the big one where I worked in it to the little one, now all I wanted to do was just go on smaller, 2-month road trips. So I just needed a bed and some clothes and a nice chest and, you know, our little portable potties and all that. So it wasn't a big deal. That's how I wanted to go, and that's how I went. So on a blank canvas, like you have kind of a blank canvas, Cheryl. So you've got a car. You've got basically could be, if without the windows, it would have been a cargo van,
Right.
size wise and everything. So
Mhm.
you're now, and this is an options for some people to look at. You're fixing it up to do what? You've got a lot of things on your plate to do to that thing. So what are you doing to
Yeah,
it?
I started out in the car where you couldn't even sit up on your bed, to the van where I could sit up, but I couldn't stand up. Now I got this grandiose idea. I want to stand up in my van
Right.
because I'm going to spend more time in it. I want to be able to stand and get dressed and cook and whatever. So I'm going to put a high top on it.
Oh,
And yeah, so I'm
you're
looking
going to go.
forward to that.
You're carrying that
I,
puppy
I
up.
want to set my van up on it that I can literally live in it.
Okay.
You know, if the time came to do
Now, are
that.
you doing any kind of plumbing or heating or anything to it?
Not at this time.
Okay, you're just going to keep it like
I've
power
got
station.
a basic. I've got a hole in a countertop with a salad bowl stuck in it for a sink.
Right.
And I put a drain pipe in it. It drains into an old gas can, and I've got a water
Perfect.
bottle and electric pump. That's the
Yeah.
extent of my plumbing.
Yeah. And that was pretty much the story with my two cargo vans, where you just kind of make do and all that. So if that's something you want, there's a lot of questions that can be answered for that one too. Now, as we move up the line, a Class C, a lot of people will come into a lot. I mean, in my 5 or 6 years of selling motorhomes, and they just thought an RV was an RV was an RV. Oh, there's actual names for them. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
No, we know that, but a lot of people don't know that.
Mhm.
And since this is a newbie classroom, Class C is the one. The best way to remember it is it's the one that's got the cab over, and that might be why the C. I don't know, but the cab where there's a bed up there. Now they're putting entertainment centers up there for seniors that don't want to have a cab there or storage. So you'll see some Class C's. But now, same questions. What do I want to do with it? Where do I want to go? You know that the state camp park, don't buy one over 30 feet. If you're going to get a 31-foot, the guy will look at you and go, how big is that? 30 feet? Well, you're lying because it's actually about 32, but it's 30 feet. So look at those little smaller Class C's. And then how do you want to drive? The one thing that your salesman will probably tell you is that's going to drive just like a car. It's going to feel just like driving a car. But my first Class C, I went over to show my dad, and that little car's cab over hit his balcony first day. So you have this illusion that you're driving a car, but you better go out and do some test drives before you buy a Class C. And if you find it on Marketplace or Craigslist or something like that, still have to drive it. You have to drive it and get that feeling of the swing in the back. If it's as big as a 30-foot, it's going to swing out. And once again, it's got to be swing out system. You've got to turn it so you're making that turn. The other thing, in driveways that have a little bit of a slope or canter, if it's got any kind of overage on the back, a lot of times that you'll see a chassis go from the front all the way to like about the kitchen, and then it's got about 8 or 9 feet of back before it hits the bumper. Oh, you're not going down that street in San Francisco in that rig.
No.
Because it's going to be scraping all the way. So look at these things. They're not, I don't know, they're important. And then the last thing, when we're getting up into Class C's now and Class B's that have a built-in home on it, a chassis that's got a home built on it. That would be like a Pleasure Way. A lot of these ones. The third question you're going to ask yourself now as you get up higher is, what floor plan do I want? Oh, but it's so pretty. It's got that beautiful blue. And oh, look, they're putting white cabinets in now. Well, kind of, sort of white. God, it used to be like dark wood. And oh, look how
Mhm.
beautiful. Well, don't get overwhelmed, because the first thing you have to look at is what floor plan. The biggest question in floor plans is kitchen and bathroom, because some bathrooms, particularly in Class C's, some A's, have what's called a split bathroom. You've got the sink and the toilet over here and the shower on this side of the rig. Okay. And then you got the hallway with 2 doors. So what that means is if someone's using the toilet, they can go in and use that, and you can still get back to the bedroom. Kind of a nice feature. If someone just wants to take a shower, they can go over there. You can still get back to the bedroom. But ask yourself, this is the biggest question I think on floor plans is, do I want to go into the bathroom like I go at home and close the door and take a shower, use the sink, use the toilet? Then pick a floor plan that's got that hallway that has the bathroom all to itself. Single most important, particularly if you have kids, or you're going to take your grandchildren or something. That bathroom configuration will haunt you if you don't, because you're going to go in and go, oh, I love this color. Oh, look at that. And just, oh, look, they got a toilet and shower. But how is it configured? Please look at the floor plan. Those of you that are watching this that think that you're in love with this unit, because that will bring nightmares to you.
Another
later.
thing is think about your slides. If you're looking at an RV on the lot and the slides are out and you think, oh, this is wonderful. Well, you buy it, you get home and you realize you can't get to the bathroom with the slide in, or you
Some of
can't
them are like that, yeah.
make a sandwich with the slide in.
Or driving down the road, you've got those 2 pressed together, and you've got to kind of inch your way back to the back. Absolutely, good one, Cheryl. And as long as we're talking about slides, when you ask yourself floor plan, just put a little side note in there, like Cheryl said. Do I want a slide? Because I've never wanted a slide. I never wanted a slide. I wanted the floor plan to just be, dinette, couch, kitchen. And the reason being, the more work, more turning wheels, the more you're going to have problems.
Yeah, more maintenance.
More maintenance, this, that, and the other. Some people don't have any problem with their slides for years, but just consider that. So under floor plan, put slide ? Okay. And I think as far as comparing a Class C to a B or to our minivans, more than likely, I don't want to say 95% of the time, you're going to have a generator. Oops, what's that? You're going to have a thermostat. Whoops. Well, that's just like at home. It's going to run the air conditioner and the heat. And you're going to have maybe some mechanical slide outs. You'll probably have an electrical awning now that you press the button. It goes out, long guard of the days, unless you buy a used one, where you actually have to crank the awning up. Class C's got a lot more going for them than we have with our minivans and all that. A lot more going, a lot more luxury, a lot more pleasure, but a lot more problems. It can get to you, and you don't want your trip ruined. So ask yourself that: is this how I want? What I want to do? Do I want to walk around bed, or do I want a bed that's over in the corner? This one particular floor plan has the bed over in the corner, and then there's a little bathroom all encased in one over on the other side of the bed. That's a great floor plan, by the way, if you want to have a bed that doesn't have to come down or anything. The 23-foot Class C is amazing floor plan. When you look, we were just out shopping last week, and a friend of mine's looking, and I said, this is the 23 unit, which is just goes anywhere, tons of storage, its own bathroom, its own bed, dinette or couch, one or the other, and a little bucket chair. So ask yourself those questions. Do I see myself driving this? overhead? Do I see what I want to do? Probably going to be a campsiter, or maybe a boondocker in a Class C, and probably not stealth. Not too many neighborhoods are going to want you parking there, so you won't be stealth. Okay, now in the Class A, you've got gas and diesel, and those both come with their own questions. So once again, you have to see, what do I want to do? First question: when you walk into a lot and you've decided you want Class A, you do want to go to RV parks. Maybe you want to live in it. The first question you have to ask when you want to do is, will you be traveling 25,000 miles a year? Yes, we will. We're going from Maine down to Baja. Okay, then you're probably a diesel buyer, because that diesel is going to be great for you on the flats. If you're carrying a trailer or pulling a boat or a car, it's going to be great on the flats. But you know where you're going to love it? It's got so much torque. It's going to go up that hill like you've never seen anything go up the hill. It's going to pass the Class A's and the Class C's with a big bad mama jamma trailer, because it has torque. And so the guy, when he sits in the seat of a diesel, mom's back there looking at, oh, look at these cupboards, and oh, I love this bedspread, and oh my God, look at this closet. And you guarantee the man will be sitting in the cab, in the cockpit, and he'll be looking at all those airplane, gadgets and going, oh, I'm in heaven. I've got my truck. Honey, I have my truck. Did you bring your purse? I mean, he is going to love it. He'll leave the cockpit, go back, and remember the diesel engine's in the back. He'll open up the engine and sit there and just look at the engine while mom and I are inside picking colors. Did you like the beige and that, or do you like this one? Which one do you like? Oh, look at that cover space. Put your arm in there. Look how deep it is. I mean, there's so many things in looking at a Class A that is wonderful. Okay, and we haven't talked about this yet. Number 4th question: what is your budget? You're looking at a diesel that's going to be minimum of $100,000, even in the used category.
Yeah.
Wow.
Diesel engines are expensive. Why? Why are they so expensive? Well, because they can go forever. Just just do a little maintenance on them. So you're buying a forever home. So what is your budget? You better have at least $100,000 if you're going to buy a used diesel or a used Class A. Now, I just saw this darling little one on Craigslist. It was a 1987 Tioga. It had the cutest little floor plan, a dinette, kind of like your dinette, like at yours, Deb. Just a little dinette, a little bathroom, a little, the cockpit, a little kitchen. I think it was like 19, 20 feet. And they wanted $10,000 for it. And then it's old, but it's cleaner than a whistle. I sent it to my sister to look at it, and he has already reduced it to $8,100. So look at the difference there. You can see yourself going down the road in that, or do you want to go to the, the Royal Palms Desert, campground that's got everyone has a jacuzzi in each one of the campgrounds and a storage shed. Those buyers are totally different than what are you that buyer? We're looking right into the camera. Are you that buyer? Is that how you want to go down the road? Most of those people might not even be watching this program because they've been told by their friends, or they've spent a lot of time on dealerships. What rig do I really want in the Class A? But Class A's now, you guys, are gorgeous. They've done everything, and they're for the person, full-timer or snowbird. I don't think a lot of younger people are buying the Class A's unless they're a family. Some families are going out and homeschooling their kids in Class A's and need the room and the pop outs and the slide outs and all that.
And
anything you guys want to add? Go ahead.
I've got a quick point to stay on. We're talking budget here, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
If you're buying this RV because you think that it's a good financial move compared to owning a home, think about the fact that if you sold your home for, say, $100,000, it's a tiny little cracker box home in the middle of nowhere. We're just throwing a number at it.
Right.
Say $100,000. And you got this $200,000 in your hand, and you go out and buy, or 100,000, whatever. You go out and buy a brand new motorhome with that money. Now you drive that motorhome for 5 or 6 years, and you decide you want to go back to a house. Now your motorhome's only worth 10 or 15,000. But if you had kept that $100,000 in your house, the money would be appreciating instead of depreciating.
Yep.
That's one thing we saw in the RV park a lot is people would sell their house because they were going to retire in full time. And they did it for like 5 years, and they decided, okay, we're too old to do this. And
Right.
now they didn't have enough money to get back into a home.
Yeah.
So unless you've got extra money for that,
Mhm.
think about it. Don't think that it's a long-term solution.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing, that's a great statement, Cheryl. So many people are doing that. And then other women, mostly women, not men so much, will say, no, I want my nest. I want somewhere where I can go back to. And they'll keep the home. Now, if I'm talking to you right now and I'm selling you a motorhome, I'm going to ask you a question. Now, exactly like what Cheryl said, if you sell it, you got the cash, you can go out and, see the world. If you keep your other place, maybe rent it out or whatever, you can actually use that motorhome as a second home write-off.
Exactly.
Do you do that, Deb?
No, there was something that you had to either claim a business out of it or rent it to other people. There was some caveat that
Are you talking about your home or your rig?
to write the RV off
Mm.
as a second home. There was something because I was going to do it, and some law just changed
Okay.
in the
Well,
last
maybe
3
because
years.
a lot of people are doing it. But that was what
Yeah.
and again, it's been 20 years since I've sold motorhomes, so things have changed.
Yeah, they
A
kind of
motorhome
caught
is a
on to
motorhome is a
people.
motorhome, but still
Yeah.
there's a lot of technology and all that that's changed, and the laws like that. So I would say I would recommend somebody that's listening to research that one too.
Yeah.
Very important. Thank you, Cheryl, for bringing that up. All right, so we've got 4 questions. Let's see if we can add any more to it as we wind down now and maybe summarize a little bit of what we've done. Number 1, what do I want to do? I've thought about this for years. It's my dream. What do I want to do? When I saw the day that I could buy a cargo van and go around the United States, I didn't have a GPS. I just left for Canada. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't even heard of the word stealth. I didn't even know what stealth was, but I stealthed because, like Cheryl says, or Deb says, I saved myself a lot of money for 2 years. Can you imagine if I'd been in, and once in a while I would stay in a campsite, but all right. So what do you want to do? What do you want to drive? How do you see yourself driving? Are you the sole driver, or do you have someone else that you can share it with? Or are you the passenger and somebody else is driving? Do you know that I sold a motorhome, a Class A, to a couple out in Tucson when I worked out there? Beautiful motorhome. They went out. 3 days later, the man called me back and goes, we're going to have to bring this back. Why? My wife had so much anxiety sitting up in that front seat in the Class A, looking out over everything. We're going to have to bring it back and trade in for a Class C. Darn it. He goes, I don't want a Class C, but I want to go camping with my wife. I got to do it, Patty. And I went, oh my God, how sad. So how are you going out there driving? Number 2 question. Floor plan. Even Deb or Cheryl in her configuring her passenger van is thinking about a floor plan. She bought a bucket so it would fit under her bed. I mean, that's a floor plan.
When I brought it home, first thing I did is, I got to have a bed. I put a bed in.
That's right.
And
There you go.
I ended up
worked around that
and putting it in a different configuration because I didn't stop to think about it. I should have just put a cot in there and slept for a while and thought about it. But no, I had to just jump in and do it.
Yeah. Now on floor plan, the
Think.
second kind of a sideliner would be how many people are traveling with you too. I mean, these
Right.
would be the questions I would ask people, when I was selling them. Are you taking your grandchildren and you need extra beds, bunk bed? That floor plan actually has to go with how many people. And then the last thing, and then you guys add any more questions you might think of, but for me, would be what's your budget? What do how's this going to work? You make payments, put money down, sell your house. How are you going to do this? Now, most people that are looking right now that I've noticed on the Facebook pages and stuff have an idea. They have an idea what they want to spend, and so that's you might want to up it when you see stuff, but for the most part, stay within your means. I'm a big believer in minimalism and usage of funds and how you use it. So make sure that's in. Now, can you guys think of anything that we might have missed as a question before we got out of here?
There's one category it said that most younger people don't do Class A's, but I know a lot of people who are building out schoolies that are
Oh, we
younger
didn't.
Oh, right.
and some beautiful ones, really.
Yes, they are, and that would be actually, in the topic tonight was what rig should I buy? Do you want to buy a schoolie? Do you see yourself driving down the road in a schoolie? And the ones that if you're buying it and you're going to reconfigure it like Cheryl's doing her passenger van, the world is yours.
Right.
If it's already been built, it's probably been built pretty beautifully. So great, Cheryl. Thank you. I mean, Deb, thank you. Any other questions you might think a new person might want to have answered that you can think of? Where you were because we tapped on generators and thermostats and electrical, and now you've got especially in the little bit in the Class C, big time in the Class A is the satellite dishes, all the mechanical stuff. That's going to cost you a little bit extra money, but are you into that? Is that what you
And
want?
solar.
I
I
was gonna
never
say
thought
solar.
I'd appreciate solar until I had it.
Yep,
It's great.
Right.
absolutely,
Yeah, I
yes.
think that's a huge question. There would be, how simple do I want to live?
Yep.
Do I need a bathroom and a kitchen and a shower and a toilet? And, do I need all those things?
But you know what, Cheryl? Most people
I
think
wanna-
they do until
Yeah.
you go out and do it like I did. I didn't even know what I was doing.
You
I took
don't-
off in a van with a bucket.
Mhm.
I don't need
Most
a toilet.
Don't. My husband would never do that. Never. He would never go out without all those things.
Some people laugh at us, but the ones that do it know that it's not a big deal.
It really is. People, they freak out over, oh my God, where am I going to go to the bathroom? Well,
Or shower.
or where am I going to shower?
Like the classic one on the shower, though, I think and I think you both might have heard it on one of it, was when the lady that was in a little Ford Transit pulled in next to me at a state park a couple months ago in Lake Mead, and I was bent over with my slide door open, washing my hair with hot water that I just boiled, and she saw me washing my hair, which is real important to me. My hair, just get that, out of my hair feeling is so important. So I boiled some water. She goes, when I saw you bent over doing your hair, she goes, I knew you were my kind of people. Now, who do you know that's like kind of, bougie or uppity would say, oh, I could never do that.
Right.
Well, you got to be able to do those kind of things if you're going to step down out of the luxury campsite kind of person.
Yeah.
As you look into what rig should I buy, you have to, who are you? Because remember, I started out in a Class A thinking, oh, I had a shower and I would never be that person. Look at me. I'm down here on the beach having Thanksgiving. We got the turkey in the oven and we're all out there on the beach going to have Thanksgiving. Yeah, that's not me today. So, who are you?
Mhm.
Who are you?
And who are you going to evolve into?
Yeah.
You might
Yeah.
think you need that, but after you're out for a while, you might realize that you really don't.
That's right. Well, this has been great. I thank you both so much. And Paula knew that she was going to lose her buffering, her connection. She's got a out there in Louisiana, something's going on with their Wi-Fi, but I'm glad she came in and told us about her minivan experience. So I hope this has helped people. We're going to put it up. All their programs now are going up on YouTube. And if you want to listen to some practical firsthand experience from a couple ladies that have had motorhomes, Cheryl's owned a motorhome park. She's probably seen it all. You know, Deb's travels, and we follow her travels, and it's great. So thank you both so much. Don't go away. We're going to just say good night to everybody here on a Thursday. Next week, we're going to be having the Nomad reunion, where all the nomads that we've talked to over the last couple months are going to come together and share some of their experiences. So we hope to see you next Thursday, 5 o'clock Pacific time. I'm in Denver now, so it's actually 6 o'clock, but that's okay. We still report it as 5 o'clock. And also, go over to the Nomad Lifestyle page and visit the merch page. There's a couple of different gift ideas up there. I just had a couple people buy some cups and hoodies and stuff for gifts. So check it out, and we'll see you and talk to you next week.